This is Justin AMZN on Thursday, September 26th, 2019. We had a nice move up yesterday, bouncing off of 1747, so it makes sense today that we sell off, pause there with a nice small hammer, take that hammer out with a bearish engulfing hammer-ish type candle, and then we break down from there. We had two really nice retests right here into 1747 and again here into 1747. So great line to have in here. It was really interacting with that price well today. First of all as a target, and then a retest here, and then ultimately another one here. And so we actually got a second close. So we closed on, let's see, Tuesday, Thursday, yeah, Tuesday below 1747, and today below 1747 on the daily. We've got two closes now. You can see them here. But this candle today was an inside candle, really nice inside candle, nearly a shaved top. Again, if we go bullish from here, if somehow we bounce and we get back above, I mean, we're going to trap a lot of bears because of where these closes have been below any of the other bounces we've had. If we continue lower, which is where my gut is saying it's going to go, we should see a nice breakdown or another nice inside candle for tomorrow. So I'm leaning towards the breakdown, but I don't want to say that's going to happen tomorrow. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. But it was a really nice move today. If you didn't get in bearish right at the gate, you had an opportunity here. So let's look at 950, and then let's look again at 230. So towards the end of the day, so it's, what did I say, 950? Yeah, 950. Let's look at the puts. This is the 1725 put, and at 950, it put in a range of less than a dollar, way less than a dollar. This would have been a really nice place to be buying, like 4x3, because you had a really nice pivot right here. Well, not necessarily pivot, just a low of this candle around 350, and that candle was the second 5-minute candle of the day. That was right here. We're nowhere near that, but we're almost at the 21. Really nice place to have a rollover, and really just a good setup. Had you waited for that candle, I don't know if you would have been filled if you did like 450 by 350, because it gapped way up here, and maybe it traded right on through it and nobody was actually buying, but it looks like you may not have been filled. But from here, I mean, it pretty much doubled. From 4 it doubled up to 8. Could have gotten out here, previous target right here, and really it did do this triple top sort of thing on the, well, sorry, triple bottom sort of on a daily. I guess it kind of made a low here. I don't know what you'd call this. It's not clean in any sense. It's almost like this is a shoulder, a really big head, and another shoulder over here, and we're seeing what we're going to do. And that's really the only thing that could get us going. If we get another move up into this range, we're trapping bears here and here, because we've stayed below this. After 20 minutes of the 25 minutes of the market, we really stayed below this line. But down here, I guess I'm kind of ignoring this one, but that was a nice first target there. We came back up into that price around here on the option. Didn't quite get to the same price here. I think that's what it was. Yeah, didn't quite get that high again here, and then we're much lower when we get over here. So this looks more like a head and shoulders with kind of a double head, something like that, and a shoulder here and a shoulder here, and this kind of neckline, and then all this is just going to retest. It kind of looks like that, like it could go lower if it was the chart, but also a really good place to be watching for rollover and continuing bearish, which would mean the option should go up and bounce nicely from here. And this price was close enough to the open, which had a really nice breakdown in the stock, really nice move on the option. So a couple opportunities to buy this. The pivot right at 1747, and then again this pivot right again at 1747, but the pricing was just way lower. And so again, had you been getting a bearish here, getting in 3x2, just scalp it to 4, that worked. If you were thinking it was going to be at the same price and you bought here at 4, you should have been stopped out as it pulled back into 1747, and it just makes sense. You're going to lose premium as it goes sideways along the day, and in this case, it went from 4 down to 2.5, and so just knowing how the option price is going to be right here on the day versus right here on the day. But also with the squeeze, there were bulls getting in thinking it's going up. It's just a really nice resistance to have here. So this was a nice move bullish. Again, with this being sort of a triple bottom down here, some really small candles, a bullish engulfing candle, nice hammer, another hammer breakout. I mean, this was kind of the S curve of that move. And I can see a couple triangles in here. And again, they're not all clean, but you got some lower highs here and a relative low here, and that makes a triangle. And this was the breakout of that. And then you can just slant the line a little differently and come over here, and then this is your breakout of kind of a symmetric triangle here. That's your breakout point. But usually when I can't draw a clean triangle, you got to zoom out. And so, doing that today, and it's still even hard to see here, but you've got this line coming down like this, and you got this shallower one coming up like this, and it's just, you can see it easier on the daily. Oh, this line, I figured out a way to see it. I'm going to switch to a 4 hour, and it gets way, way, way zoomed out. And I went left a little bit. And what I found is I had drawn a line in way back here, and all of these are, I think, some feature I've got turned on that's just looking for some sort of triangle. And so these pop up from time to time. I rarely look at this 4 hour, but I found it as a way to find this line. We had gotten below this line, but we kind of touched to it. It was really mostly a trend line from this low connecting to this low and showing support here, just about bounced here, just about bounced here. This is the first time we've been below that line here now since we were really back in this bigger pullback. And I'm not saying it's going to happen like that, like a big flash down over a couple of days to weeks like this was, but the potential is there. Also, this line showing a downtrend connecting some of these, that could be a really nice target to hit that and then bounce in the 1500s. So looking at this line, zoom in a little bit, looking at this line, we've passed below it, we got above it, we're below it again, inside candle, like I said, it could easily break down from here. It's basically retested back up into this, and even if you don't have this line and you just want to connect the recent lows we've had like this, connecting these, sort of that one, this one with a similar angle, this becomes a retest. And so again, when the triangle isn't clear, if you zoom out a little bit more, you kind of see it. So if you take this orange line and the red line I just drew, this still looks like a retest. Now it still looks like it could come way back up to here, touch this, and roll over. If it does that, I mean, that's still fine for it to do it. It's just, I don't know if it's going to have that kind of strength to go up that much, go up that bullish here. So, but anyway, I just want to point that out because I was trying to figure out where that was coming from, and it's somewhat relevant just because it was marking some lows. Obviously, we got through it here, and we got through it here, but we haven't been through it since until now, until the last few days here. So that's why I think it's significant. You can also draw a shallower line and say, oh, here, we're hitting this low because we hit it here, and maybe those come out. I don't know. But I always like having a line that goes back a little further and having some nice interactions to say, hey, this has worked before. We stayed well above it here, well enough above it these times. First time we're touching it, it may not get back above it for a little bit, So it should eventually, obviously, Amazon should go up. But for right now, I'm looking for it to really roll over or stay below that. So the line doesn't show up quite right, whether you're looking at the 4 hour or the 5 minute, and I'm not sure exactly where it is. See, it just jumped again. The page kind of refreshed, but or the chart refreshed, whatever it's called. So it looks like we're above it here, but looking at the 4 hour, it looks like we're below it. I don't know. it's just a nice line to say, hey, we've passed through this, and I really thought we were below it when I was just talking through it. So um, if we are really above it and it holds, great. Should be a great place to bounce, just because it's bounced so many times before. But I thought it was very below. Anyway, guess we'll see if we bounce or not. Could happen tomorrow, could happen in the next week. But I would not worry about taking a trade bearish from here. It's a great risk reward if we get some sort of move back into 1747 and have a nice rollover like this. You know, I'll be looking to get into that bearish, probably with 1725 puts. The option value should come down to around $2, maybe even less, because today it was at 2. And the prices are up here. So if we open up right around here, you might see $2 or a little bit less on the option. But hopefully that would roll back down and the option would move up, and maybe we'll touch our next target here, 1727.80, like we did yesterday. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see for that. Let's see. So the other thing was buying down here. We got a bullish engulfing candle at 12:35. Had you waited this long, had you been trying to get in here, or thinking, oh, this could double bottom and ride that back up, and it paused and rolled back over. This was a really clear move where we had a bullish engulfing, paused, and then continued. But even right here, it's I think just these candles, the stair step that broke bullish instead of bearish is the right place to have gotten in. So that's it, 12:35. So 12:35 is right here. It actually is where we put in the low, and had a nice little pop, but then came right back into this price. So if you had a setup like 4x3, it was pretty good risk to do that. Got below a bit. We're down a little bit in the position if you bought it 4. But it had a nice move up to 5 and even past 550 a little bit, right into the other high here. So this is one where you probably weren't looking for an R. You weren't looking for 2R. You're probably looking for just an R to kind of scalp this. And there were some other moves. Had you bought the low, it was harder to do. Like the double bottom here, the second bottom made a lower low than the first one. Didn't really hold. This time, we're making an even lower low. This is the one that ends up holding on the stock, and this looks more like a double bottom on the option. And sometimes it's easier to see if I'm zoomed out a little bit, but yeah, you can see this is a little more double bottom here. But anyway, that's showing way more, way higher prices on here. Obviously, it lost a lot of value right at the open, and then into the close, still lower. But the other place to be buying that would have worked nicely is this consolidation with the squeeze, thinking, okay, we got above it. What if we have another push up? Well, you got that. You could have been buying here again, 4x3, same setup as over here, 4x3, and it had a nice pop. That moved up 2R pretty quickly, just because it moved nicely with the squeeze. It was kind of one last ditch effort today for bulls to really push. But just looking at these 2 days on the 5-minute, you can see there's a lot more bearishness in here on the move down, just because there's more red candles than green candles. But then they become interspersed and alternating almost, and we go sideways for a while until you get this big push with a couple bigger candles, big volume, and then you get the bearish ones. As opposed to yesterday, you had a lot of big bearish candles at first, and then a whole lot more bullish candles. Even the small ones, they're just much more concentrated than the bearish ones, and we moved up nicely. So just visually, you can see today was a little more of a resting day, and it's actually an inside day. Smaller than yesterday, but you can see it on the daily. Obviously, we're just looking at how the candle formed today, and that's what I'm saying. Tomorrow, if we get another really small inside day, look out. Something is going to get going. We've got this bearish momentum now on the squeeze. We don't have a squeeze, but it really looks like it's getting ready to move much more bearish. And getting in a trade as it's breaking down from 1747 and a stop up here, or getting into an option tomorrow that's absolute zero, is pretty much the best way to go, just because you don't have to worry about where your stop's going to be or hitting the stop early. So I'm not anticipating getting into calls. I'm more or less interested in getting into puts, and just don't know what that price is going to be until we have an idea of what's going to happen at the open. So as we grind around in here pre-market, or if we push back up here looking for it to roll over, but waiting. If you wait a 3-minute candle form or a 5-minute candle form, today was harder to do that. It moved nicely, very quickly. Even on a 3-minute, it had a really nice move. Stop jumping around. There you go. Nice large bearish candle taking out the pre-market rally right here. You can see it did more of kind of a, I don't know what you call this. This one called Dragonfly Doji off of 1747. Got below it, got above it, got below it, stayed below it. And you can see this evening star reversal here, evening star reversal here, inverted hammer on a 3-minute instead of a 5-minute, and this even pushing through the 21 and then rolling over. It just helps you get in earlier on this kind of move if you're watching a 3-minute. But waiting for these things to happen, waiting for this to play out a little bit. Even this this bounce, put in, let's see, was this new low? 1732.77, 1731.71. Okay, so this was the low of the day. This was 1731.50. Sorry, I read the wrong number. So this is the low of the day. That was a nice hammer. That's a nice morning star reversal. Then we go sideways. Yeah, there's some momentum building up here, and we pop. And then we come right back and S-curve right back into that price range. Sure, go look at the option over here for what it was here and try and get into that trade. And it just worked. This was really nice where if you were in this bullish right here, the 2 bearish candles come in, low volume, and looking like the bears were going to roll this over, and then it pops. And the momentum was slowing on the bear side, so it looked like it was going to pop. So if you're in this, off the S-curve, off of this level, you get that nice pop, trapping these bears. They need to exit. It pushes up on the same candle on the 3-minute, makes a new high right here, taking out, not just this high, but, it almost closes above it. And then just continues on up, and great target, 1747. So that was the big price to interact with today. Hope this helps, hope this makes sense. And, either if you're on a 5-minute or 3-minute or some other time frame, that you're able to recognize these candles and give them something. So again, hope this helps. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.